Good morning. So this article is about, the topic of this article is, does the Vinnana, the consciousness, travel to next life after death? So we are going to see what Buddha said on this issue. I'm not going to give my views or somebody else's views, and I would stick with what Buddha said in Sutta pitaka, Suttanta Thathgatha Bhasitha. What Thathgatha said, Bhasitha, as appears in Sutta pitaka. That's what this means. So there's this notion that when someone is dead, the Vinnana or the consciousness would go to the next life. Some Buddhist monks in Theravada tradition seems to preach that way. So is this really true? What did Buddha say about this issue? So let's see. And so here's a person is dying, and then this Vinnana or the consciousness traveling to next life. And there would be an infant, and then the infant is, this Vinnana. So this is the view that some people are preaching. So this issue appeared in Tanha Sankhaya Sutta. And here in this sutta, a bhikkhu named Sati, he stated, as I understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, such that it is just this consciousness that you have right now, that runs and wanders on, and not another one. So he now these monks, they sit around and they discuss issues, and Sati, the monk Sati, told the other monks that this consciousness is what goes to the next life. So the Pali rendering is this: evam biya ko aham. I'll include this article in the description section. But here two words are important. Tadavidam. Tadavidam is this Vinnanam. Tadavidam Vinnanam. This consciousness. That means the consciousness that we have right now. And the next important word is anannanti. Anannanti. Anannanti means not other, nothing else. So this consciousness, not any other thing, is what that is travel to the next life. And that's what this monk said. So other monks normally, they go and, it's considered to be a wrong view. And then these other monks went and told this to Buddha. So let's see what happened next. And the Buddha said, Kasanu ko nama tvam moga purisa maya evam dhammamam desitam ajanasi. So this is translated as, to whom, worthless man, moga purisa, do you understand me to have taught the Dhamma like that? So it's obvious that Buddha was not very happy with this idea that the consciousness is going to the next life when a person is dead. So that idea was, he used the word moga purisa. It's translated as useless or worthless man. So then Buddha went on to say, this preaching here, I'm not going to burden you with reading it, but you could read it. But what I did was, this is the Pali rendering. So here we have, I have illustration here. So what Buddha is saying, that if there is a fire due to sticks, then we call it a stick fire. And this is in the sutta itself. And you could read it in the description section. I'm going to include this article and the relevant sutta. So, and here Buddha says, fire blaze on sticks is a stick fire, fire blaze on twigs is a twig fire, fire blaze on grass is a grass fire, etc. So if you have sticks and then there's a fire, that's a stick fire. And if you have grass, and if there's a fire, that will be a grass fire. So similarly, Buddha says, if there is consciousness due to eye, that will be Chakku Vinyana or eye consciousness. And due to ear is Sota Vinyana or ear consciousness, and the nose consciousness. And we smell something, and then that will be consciousness due to nose. And then the tongue, consciousness due to tongue, which is the taste. And then the consciousness due to the body. So this is the first part of the explanation. And then there's also the consciousness due to manacca or the mind. And then Buddha says, mendicants, there are these four fields. They maintain sentient beings that have been born and help those that are about to be born. And what for? Solid food, aharam, with the course of fine. Contact is passo, mental intention or chetana, the third, and consciousness, vinyana, is the fourth one. So these four fields are needed for someone to be alive. So anyway, I'm not going to read it, but I have this illustration here. So you have the four fields, and then you have the paticca samuppada, but it's upside down here. He started from the top to bottom instead of bottom to top. And it's slightly different also. So you have the craving, feelings due to contacts, is passo, etc., ignorance, etc. So all these things are, it's not like once contact happens and then goes to the six senses, the salayatana. There's no more contact anymore. There is contact all the time. So they are like moving. So it's not a rigid situation. It's like a flux. Okay. So I created this illustration. It's like a flux. It's a paticca samuppada. There is no place that you could say, here it is, the contact. It's moving around. It's like an electron, where the electron cloud, it's a flux. That's how I understand. So, where do we stand so far? So we are standing here. You have the four fields, and then you have the paticca samuppada, and they are in a flux. And then what did Buddha say? And then you have these six consciousnesses, and then you have the paticca samuppada, and then the flux is that ever changing, and that's what Buddha stated here. And then there's the Gandhabba. Gandhabba is in some traditions, some nikayas, when a person is dead, Gandhabba would be formed. It's not described. Is it consciousness or it's something else? We don't know. And this Gandhabba would be hanging around for months, years, whatever, until a suitable place to be born. But in Theravada tradition, you don't have that, and Buddha didn't say that. And see what Buddha said. And Buddha says, Tinam kopana bhikkave, all that. You could read it. And then here it says, Hoti Gandhabbo. And what the translation by Bhikkhu Thanissaro is, monks, the descent of embryo occurs within the union of three things. There is the case where there is no union of the mother and the father. The mother is not in her season, and Gandhabba is not present. If the Gandhabba is not present, then the life cannot happen. So all these things, the mother and father has to connect, and then the mother should be in her season, and the Gandhabba has to be present. And then only the embryo can occur. So this is what Buddha said in that sutta. So now our illustration comes like this. So you have the paticca samuppada, or something similar, not exactly the paticca samuppada. And then you have the six consciousnesses, and then the flux that goes through, and then the present of the Gandhabba. And what is this Gandhabba? Is it consciousness? We don't know. I mean, you could tell whatever you want. Doesn't matter, because Buddha didn't say what Gandhabba is. He just says Gandhabba. That's it. No explanation given. Okay. You could say Gandhabba is consciousness, or doesn't matter to me because it's your view. If you ask me, what did Buddha say? Nothing. He just said Gandhabba has to be present. That's all. That's all he said. He didn't say what is Gandhabba. He said the consciousness, or is it something else? Now, is Gandhabba connected to the consciousness, this Shad Vinnana? We don't know. It's not stated in anywhere in the Sutta pitaka. So we don't know. The answer is we don't know. All what Buddha says, Gandhabba has to be present. So that's where we stand. A lot of questions. And if in Abhidhamma Pitaka, some of these questions people try to answer some of the questions. But as far as Buddha's word, Thathgatha Bhasitha, it's not complete. That's all Buddha says. So this whole thing is moving, or only the Gandhabba is moving to the next life? Obviously, eye and ear and nose are not going to the next life. So these things cannot go to the next life. And it's the Gandhabba that's going to the next life. And Buddha said that. And what is Gandhabba? Buddha did not say that. So we don't know. The answer is we don't know what Gandhabba is. So that's where we stand, and thank you very much for listening.